Rich Paul just slammed the Lakers. But is he really speaking for LeBron? Jim Rome breaks down the shocking truth behind the curtain.
It is Rich Paul's take that the Lakers are not real contenders. And he would know, right? After all, he is LeBron's agent. So, you also have to assume that it's not just Rich Paul's take that the Lakers aren't real contenders. It's Team LeBron's take.
Jim Rome usually doesn't talk about NBA rumors unless something is seriously wrong. This time he spoke up. When Rich Paul, LeBron James' longtime agent, said the Lakers aren't real contenders, it wasn't just his opinion. It was a message. And if you know how Klutch Sports works, you know statements like that are never said by accident.
Like, I personally don't think the Lakers are good enough to be contenders right now. Not right now.
So let me ask you this. When Rich Paul says the Lakers aren't contenders, is that really his own opinion? Or is LeBron speaking through his agent again? Let us know what you think in the comments, because this goes way beyond basketball.
I mean, if Rich Paul knows that much about basketball tactics, knows more than Farmer JJ, then shouldn't he be the head coach of the Lakers? Yo, Rich, why didn't LeBag pick you instead of Farmer JJ to be his wine-sipping X's and O's podcast partner?
Now, let's be real. Rich Paul doesn't speak unless LeBron is okay with it. That's how their relationship has always worked. Rich Paul didn't become one of the most powerful agents in sports because he knows coaching or game strategy. He became powerful because he represents LeBron James. That's his role. Protect LeBron. Control the story. Apply pressure when LeBron wants pressure applied. So when Rich Paul goes on his podcast and says the Lakers aren't good enough to compete, there's no mystery. That's LeBron speaking through him.
And if you think the Lake Show is a legitimate contender this season for an NBA championship, you would also be wrong. Sorry, Laker fan. Hate to be that wet blanket. Hate to be the cooler. Hate to be the one to dump a bunch of cold water all over you. Hate to suck the joy out of this season, but your Lakers are nothing but a bunch of frauds.
Jim Rome caught it right away, and he didn't sugarcoat it. He called it for what it was. If LeBron's agent is publicly criticizing the Lakers while they're in one of their most stable runs in years, then something bigger is happening behind scenes. Rome pointed out the clear contradiction. The Lakers are winning games, and the standings don't show a fake team. Yet LeBron's camp is already setting up excuses. That's not by accident. That's planned.
Don't take that from me, because it's not even my take. I don't even believe that. However, it is Rich Paul's take that the Lakers are not real contenders. And he would know, right? After all, he is LeBron's agent. So, you also have to assume that it's not just Rich Paul's take that the Lakers aren't real contenders. It's Team LeBron's take. And if it's Team LeBron's take, safe to assume it is LeBag's take.
And Rome was right to question it. Why is an agent suddenly talking like a head coach about championship chances? Since when did Rich Paul become an expert on playoff rotations, defense, or postseason matchups? If he knows exactly why the Lakers can't win, why isn't he on the bench drawing up plays? Why isn't he replacing J.J. Redick, the same coach LeBron wanted in the first place? That's the part that shows how ridiculous this whole thing really is.
If you don't feel that way, you might want to check your agent, because he's going on his pod and he's saying it in broad daylight. You might want to make it clear to everybody that your agent does not speak for you or through you. Because right now the obvious assumption is everybody is making just the opposite assumption, that your agent is doing your talking for you.
This isn't about basketball analysis. This is about control. For the first time during LeBron's time with the Lakers, the team isn't fully giving him everything he wants. Luka gets the extension. Austin Reeves is about to get paid. J.J. Redick is starting to coach like a real coach, not just a friend from podcast. And suddenly, Rich Paul is out here saying the Lakers style of play is easy to stop. That's not a critique. That's a warning shot.
Like, I personally don't think the Lakers are good enough to be contenders right now. Not right now.
When you say contenders, what do you mean?
I don't think they have enough to get to the Western Conference Final. I don't think they have enough to get to really contend from that perspective.
Jim Rome called it exactly what it was, a not-so-hidden shot at the coaching staff and the direction of the team. And here's the part people keep missing. If LeBron really disagreed with Rich Paul, he would have shut it down immediately. One sentence, one tweet, one post-game comment saying, "My agent doesn't speak for me." But that never happened. Instead, there was silence. And in this case, silence says everything.
Like, scoreboard, don't look at it. Standings, don't look up at them. You're thinking about this all wrong. What you should be asking yourself is this: does the team revolve around LeBron? And since the answer is now no, they obviously are not good enough. They suck. They have no chance. I mean, easy lava Paul.
Because LeBron knows better than anyone how optics work. He knows if he openly criticizes the Lakers, social media would tear him apart. He can't say the roster isn't good enough while chasing stats, milestones, and legacy points. So what does he do? He sends Rich Paul. Let the agent take the heat. Let Klutch Sports shape the story. And if it backfires, LeBron can act like he had nothing to do with it.
Team LeBag is at it again, and they're getting baggier by the moment. And it's only going to get worse now that Lava Paul has his own podcast to launder LeBag's bullcrap through. Like, some of us are smart enough to see through that garbage. In fact, I'd like to believe that most of us are. I'd like to believe that most people can see how transparently petty and ridiculous and unprofessional this all is. And that wasn't even all he said. As an example, he also said they would lose in the playoffs because their, quote, style of play will be very easy to defend, end of quote. Clearly a not-so-veiled shot at J.J. Redick.
That's why Jim Rome called it unprofessional. You don't publicly trash the team your client plays for unless there's a plan. And the plan is simple. If the Lakers fail, the excuse is already ready. If they win, LeBron gets credit for beating a non-contender. Heads, he wins. Tails, the organization loses.
But since Farmer JJ is on board with building around Luka, Farmer JJ is now the bad guy who won't win in the playoffs because his style was so easy to defend. Well, terrible head coach choice by your client then, Lava Paul. Like, I didn't know agents were so well versed in X's and O's like this. I mean, if Rich Paul knows that much about basketball tactics, knows more than Farmer JJ, then shouldn't he be the head coach of the Lakers?
Rome also pointed out how ridiculous it is to hear Rich Paul act like the season is already over. Cancel the games, shut it down. The agent says they're not good enough, so why even try? That sarcasm hits because it shows how arrogant this is, as if one man's camp gets to decide when a franchise is legitimate. And let's talk defense. Yes, the Lakers have defensive issues. Nobody denies that. Luka, Reeves, and LeBron on the floor together aren't exactly a lockdown unit. But here's the hypocrisy. LeBron doesn't care about defense unless it fits his story. He hasn't played consistent defense in years. Yet suddenly the team's defensive flaws are the reason they can't contend. That's rich. Jim Rome's bigger point was about power. This is what happens when a superstar loses leverage. Years ago, this conversation wouldn't exist. Rich Paul wouldn't dare say the Lakers aren't contenders because LeBron ran the show. He got the trades he wanted, Westbrook, AD the coach. He even got his son into the league. That power is slipping. And this is what pushback looks like. Now, instead of controlling moves, LeBron is positioning himself as a victim. The organization didn't do enough, the style isn't right, the roster isn't built to win. Sound familiar? Same playbook we've seen at the end of every LeBron era. Cleveland, Miami, Cleveland again, now Los Angeles. Rome wasn't buying it, and neither should anyone else. He made it clear, if Rich Paul's words were truly independent, LeBron could say so. But he won't, because they're coordinated. That's how Klutch Sports works. Narrative first, accountability never. The timing says it all. Contract talk stalled. Extensions given to everyone except LeBron. JJ Redick coaching with autonomy. Luka becoming the face of the franchise. Suddenly, Rich Paul is on a podcast tearing down the team's championship hopes. That's not coincidence. That's leverage warfare. Rome also stressed how disrespectful this is to Lakers fans. While the team is trying to build something sustainable, LeBron's camp is already hinting at abandonment, setting up "they failed me" headlines. That's not leadership. It's self-preservation. And the irony, Rich Paul criticizing the Lakers' style of play when that style was shaped by LeBron himself. Who wanted JJ Redick? Who designed the offense? Who demanded certain player fits? You can't build the house and then complain about the foundation. At the end of the day, Jim Rome didn't just go off on Rich Paul. He called out the whole system behind it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed, because this situation is only getting messy. From